Hey, noble ones. So, to cut a long story short, since you already know from the title, I have been hacked, and this unfortunately has happened to a lot of content creators, never mind on YouTube, but already in the community of the sword. It happened to Matt Easton, it happened to Todd Cutler, it happened to Scalagrim. We're all going through this, and this is basically how it happened, and I'm going to just explain it very quickly, and this video will be completely unedited because I've spent my last 2 days trying to work against this person who was this criminal that was trying to take over my life, and luckily finally everything is fine, and I believe I have come out of it unscathed, also thanks to the help of a friend of mine who is a literal programmer, but thanks to him, I'm okay. But I've got to say, I've learned a lot from this experience. I want to tell you exactly what happened, who this scammer was, what he tried to do, what he managed to do. And also, towards the end of the video, I will tell you how, from now on, the sort of defenses that I will always have in place. And I strongly suggest, if any of you watching this video is a content creator, to do the same. So basically what happened is that, as you know, as content creators, we work with sponsors. And that at the moment is a must, because of the fact that the sort of revenue that AdSense provides is not enough to justify the hundreds and hundreds of hours of work that we put into the creation of our content on YouTube. And when I say I mean everyone really in the community of the sword. Now, if any of us eventually will manage to hit the, I don't know, 5 million, 10 million subscriber count, then at that point probably you won't need to really work with sponsors, because AdSense will be enough to justify really anything you do. But for this sort of community right now, that it's a community that is growing and it's relatively new if compared to the gaming community or the music channels and cats and all that sort of content, then of course we still need the sponsors. And the sponsors are great when they are real, when they are legit, because they are a way in which we can sort of round up with the amount of money that we receive at the end of the month. It helps us invest in our channel, it helps us gain and buy stuff like helmets and swords that we need to do review and to also create the content that we do. And also they are great because at the end of the day, I know some people complain about us speaking about sponsors, but if you think about it, you as the audience have complete and absolute power, meaning that if you see that a sponsor that we're working with, the product that we're placing is something that you might like, then great, it's a win-win situation, because you get a discount, we get a little bit of extra money to help us justify all the work that we put into the research, the editing, the film production and everything we do. And if you don't like the sort of stuff that the sponsor is showing, if you're not interested, for you is just one click, move forward, skip it. It's usually, in my channel, is never going to be longer than a minute and a half tops, and there you go. You know, it was just a click for you, but it was a game changer for us as content creators. Now, so as I was saying, sponsors are great when they are real, but unfortunately the majority of contact that we have with sponsors is through email, and with an email anyone on the internet can pose as anyone and anything. So how do you know that the said company that is contacting you is real, is legit, or how do you know it's not a scammer? Well, you don't until the actual transaction has happened and you created the unlisted version of your video that you show them for approval, they like it, they pay you, boom, and that's fine. But unfortunately, a lot of sponsors, fake sponsors, hackers, they come to you and they tell you, oh, by the way, click this link. And I am a person who already has defenses up because I usually never click links. And a lot of times you might think it's obvious, well, yeah, if they're telling you to click a link, then obviously there is something wrong, there's something fishy about it, but they're getting smarter and then getting better and make it look legit. So you ask them what sort of integration do you want me to do, and they will tell you, well, you can see these 3 links to 3 YouTube videos where you can see we've worked with these content creators, and you can see exactly at minute 6 the sponsorship that we had with them, so you can see what you're supposed to do. And so then, you know, you might think it's legit and you're going to click, and if you do, then you're going to be in trouble. They can take over your channel, they can take over your life. Now, I never click. So what I do tell them is, sorry, but it is a policy of my channel. I do not click links from emails. Therefore, you'll have to tell me the name of the channel, the name of the video, and the minute, and I will go and look for it myself. Usually, sometimes they even tell you, hey, click on this link and you'll see our website where you can see the products we have. And then again, I ask them what's the name of the website, because I don't click links. So that already is a sort of defense that I have in place. However, oftentimes they ask you to download stuff. And when I say stuff, I mean it can be assets, You know, for example, logos. They can ask you to download video clips that show the product or the video game in question or whatever it is that you're sponsoring, and therefore within these assets, then you go and download. There might be malware, there might be virus, there might be spyware. How do you know? Other times, sponsors ask you to download contracts. Usually they are PDF. I believe PDF are safe, but to be honest, right now, I'm starting to think that they can really hide anything. They can make it look like a PDF, hide a final extension, which could be an executable, and boom, you double click and you are effed. So, in this case, what they did is that this sponsor approached me, said they were a clothes shop, I believe it's called Cruise something. Of course, it wasn't true. And they said, we want to send you some of our clothing line, and we would like you to do an integration. We will pay you for it. And I said, okay, that sounds good, but I need to make sure that this is somewhat in line with what I produce. So usually I don't do this sort of sponsor. What exactly do you want me to do? How long is this sponsorship going to be? And they said, well, here's the catalog, and there was the downloadable attachment to the email. This is our catalog. You can just have a look, and then we can proceed, and we can have a look if there is something you might use for your videos. And so I downloaded this, and it was a SCR file, which are usually image files, so like screensavers and whatnot, which you would think are safe, but they are not, and I did not know that. So what I do, I unzip it, I double click it, and boom, the file disappears, and and I freak out because I see, okay, nothing is opening. Obviously this was a scam. What do I do? So I run my antivirus, it finds nothing. So what I do, I unzip the file again. Instead of double clicking this time, I scan it with my antivirus, which I should have done in the first place, and I made a mistake there. And it finds it as a malware and puts it in the virus chest. So I go into the virus chest and I find two files. So of course the first one was also placed in the virus chest. That's why it disappeared. But I noticed that the name of the file is different now, which makes me think that probably I still did activate it. So what can it be, and is it still on my computer? And I find out with a little research, and also talking to my friend who's, again, as I say, he's a programmer, he works with code, so he knows his stuff. I don't know much about computer science, to be honest, and he explains to me that oftentimes SCR video files are used to hide spyware and keyloggers. So what a keylogger does, which is what infected my computer, is that it records every single time you touch one of the keys of your keyboard, and then it sends this information to the hacker. And what the hacker can do with that is that every single time you enter your Facebook, your PayPal, your YouTube channel, your Google account, your email, it will know your username, your password. You can imagine how catastrophic that can be. Now, luckily, I always have two-steps verification or two-steps authentication, which is a security measure whereby whether it be your email, your YouTube channel, or your PayPal, even if someone knows your password and enters, since they are entering from a separate IP and a separate device, but even if it's me, to be honest, it happens to me as well, anyone who enters needs to provide a code that is sent directly to my phone. And that, of course, is what basically happened, because so I didn't enter my Facebook or my YouTube because they're already connected, but I did have to enter my Yahoo for work, Yahoo email, and when I did, then I went to sleep, and the following day when I woke up, I found that there had been a security breach into my Yahoo account. And luckily, again, since I have two steps of verification, which you must have if you're a content creator, because if I did, they would have taken over my frigging life. This would have been a catastrophe. Luckily I did, so they were still locked out, and they couldn't enter. And I was told that someone from a separate device from India, now probably they're using a VPN, so probably they weren't even in India, but obviously it wasn't me, tried to enter, did get the password right and tried to enter, but it was stopped by the two-steps verification authentication process. Now, the moment I knew that my computer was infected and the keylogger was there and it was doing stuff. So what do? I run a scan with my antivirus. It doesn't see it because unfortunately keyloggers tend to be invisible to antivirus. I try another antivirus, which I was told has a high detection rate. Still finds nothing. So I download an anti-spyware. I uninstall into my computer. The moment I try to run it, it doesn't work, which means this program, whatever it was, this virus that they sent, I don't know how, because again, I'm not a hacker, I'm not a computer expert, but it prevented any anti-spyware to execute. I tried with an encryption software, which was supposed to basically, what it does, it encrypts what you do. So when you push an M, it's going to look like an L, etc. But it couldn't be activated. It was completely inactive and just, it couldn't be activated. So he was a step ahead of us the entire time. And that's when my friend and I decided we are going to nuke this. Let's format the entire computer. So yes, I've lost every single file, all the data that I had on my computer. But luckily, and this is another thing that I suggest every fellow content creators out there, I had backups for literally everything. Well, not exactly everything. I did lose some music that I usually use on my videos that I'll have to re-download. I did have, of course, to re-download every single video game, doesn't matter. But also I've been downloading all the programs that I use for my content creation, which is why I am late, because usually I post on Wednesdays and Saturdays. As you can see, I couldn't post because this all process took 2 days, and so I formatted the entire computer. The thing is gone, and of course I changed all my passwords to everything. I just double checked that 2-step verification is activated onto everything. But I just want to say, I am lucky that I had a friend who's a programmer and kind of helped me always build this idea of you need to have 2-step verification. You need to have everything built up. I mean, my PayPal account even has, apart from the 2-step verification and a particularly difficult elaborate password, although that doesn't matter when they have a keylogger, but it also has like security questions. You need to build as many redundancies as possible. You need to have contingency plans in place. Like in my case, I mean, I have my entire 700 videos library for my YouTube channel backed up on 2 separate hard drives, and that is because you never know if I was someone who didn't have 2-step verification, if I was someone who couldn't even understand that I was infected, and luckily I acted quickly, they could have taken over my channel. They could have literally erased every single video I've ever made. 7 years of work thrown in the whatever litter bin. They could have, imagine if they could get access to your PayPal and take everything you have saved up. Not that I keep all my money in my PayPal account, of course I don't. My savings are divided into 3 separate accounts, and that one of which is physical, no, 2 of which are physical, and that is because you never know. And that's actually made a video on why I prepare for things like this. I made it 3 years ago. Interestingly enough, on that video I even said there might be a global pandemic, you need to be ready. I'll leave a link if you want to check it out. But I was right for the pandemic, and I was right that I backed up everything, because as you can see, you might feel that you are being careful, but they will outsmart you unless you put defenses in place and rules that you decide beforehand, not when the sponsorship arrives. Because if the sponsor arrives and you are already experiencing problems, because January is the worst month in the year for YouTubers. February tends to be pretty bad too. In fact, we've been speaking about this with the rest of the community of the sword, the content creators, because we always talk to each other. And yes, our views are going down like crazy for the majority of us, not all of us. And of course, it means in January, your revenue goes down as well. As a teacher, I used to round up with teaching at schools and taking on teaching projects, but I can't do that now because of the pandemic. And so if a sponsor comes in and offers money, you might feel, well, you know, this is good. You get excited because you're going to pay your bills, everything is going to be fine. You might even order a new helmet and whatnot, and so you might lower your defenses if your rules are not solid in place beforehand. So what am I going to do from now on? From now on, I will not download anything anymore. I don't care. If it's a sponsor that requires me to have assets, we'll have to find a different way. And I'm even thinking on investing, and I am going to do that. I'm going to buy a separate notebook, a small computer that will only be connected to my email, and it will be connected to nothing else, and I will use to download those things like a, I don't know, PDF contract and stuff like that I can't help but downloading from a, as much as I can, reputable source of a sponsor, perhaps someone who I've worked with already, and it will go there. So even if that computer gets compromised, not a big deal because it's not connected to anything else. I will not. So rule number 1, never download anything, no matter who it is, on your computer, on your main computer, which is connected to everything. First. Secondly, never click on anything, obviously. These rules never click on any links. So these rules need to be absolute. Not something you decide. It's something you're going to say the moment someone comes in and says, hey, I want to sponsor you, great. But be aware, these are the rules on my channel. I shall not download anything and I will not click on any link. Are you okay with that? Because if they're not, then renounce the sponsorship. Because if they say, no, you need to click on this, you need to enter your credentials, but it's safe, it's our site, it's a hacker. So in that case, it's going to be a no. No more. No more. Because it's our life, it's our work, it's our sacrifices, and we cannot risk them. We are not computer experts. So we need to put us in the position that nothing can touch us. And I'm adamant about this. It's dramatically important. Please be safe. So to you audience, again, I apologize for the delay. I am sorry that I haven't been able to keep up with my publishing schedule. And I know you're very understanding and very thoughtful, so I'm sure you'll be okay with this. I will try to publish the video that I was working on as soon as I can. And apart from that, please stay safe. And if you're a content creator, be very careful who you work with. Don't trust them. Be very careful, because these people will destroy your life the moment they get a chance to do it. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe.